So I got to introduce you somehow. How am I going to do this? Hey, everybody, look who's joining me today. It's Matt Howard. Say hi to the crowd, Matt.
Hello, crowd.
All 5 viewers that like your hand pointed
Well,
out.
I'm one of the biggest fans, so I'm not going to watch this one. So you're going to be down on the fan count.
It will be at 4.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back to another episode. This is Just Two Camera Guys. We're going to do a quick PSA with Matt and I on the Canon R5c that just came out. So if you haven't been paying attention to this, basically everything everyone ever wanted from the Canon R5 for video got thrown into this camera. So it is essentially the Canon R5, everything photographic the same, with a few twists.
Emery, are you gonna get your hands on this? Do you think?
Myself, I think that's a better question for you, Matt. Do you think it would be something you would purchase?
It seems a little overkill on some of the things that I would get. I was just taking a peruse because I've done zero homework on this, full confession, but 45 megapixels is kind of huge. I'm just wondering what kind of file size that would be when you take a photo at full resolution.
Yeah, they're pretty big, but it's kind of magical when you see it the first time. What about the video specs? That's what I'm interested in, because I think as a camera, it's fantastic for photos, but personally, I would just get like the Canon R5 instead of the cinema version, because I don't really necessarily need all the fancy doodads and fan for the video side. Does any of that video stuff actually kind of appeal to you?
I think so. I mean, it's got the 8K. It'd be interesting to see if they're going to have the issues that they did with the other previous Canons, with the fans and keeping everything cooled down there. It does give you a lot more options if you're working alone, being able to actually gather huger size frames, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to take it out. Who wouldn't?
I watched a few of the videos on them. A lot of them, honestly, were kind of disappointing. People still found stuff to complain about, which I think is funny because they pretty much addressed every single issue everybody had. I talked to Nick about it, and Nick is so reluctant to give up his C200. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he's using that camera to shoot Leroy and Leroy. He needs to shrink down. I think this is the exact camera that gives them all their professional looks, everything, and shrink it down. And he's like, well, it doesn't have audio inputs. I'm like, Nick, it's the size of a still camera. And they have the Tascam adapter for it, that so you can XLR stuff onto it. Well, that's just one more thing to get broken. I'm like, Nick, come on, you're being a princess about it. So yeah, anyways, I think it's a stellar camera. Like, I don't even know why you'd get another cinema line camera at this point in time.
I think for me, I enjoy using the big camera still just because it's so familiar and you have those settings inside ready to go. I mean, does this have built-in NDs? I haven't even got down to that yet.
That would be one of the things it does not have, which I think would be beneficial. However, if you're using EF lenses, you could slap on your adapter, which would have an ND in it that you could use. I don't think it would be problematic to slap on a variable ND on the front and use that either. Again, it's really about that shrinking. Yeah. It's an interesting camera. I think it's a really good thing, especially if you're into video. If you're into photo, you're probably looking at something like the regular R5.
Or R6.